If you think Jake 5638's story ended the night he disappeared, you're wrong, because the worst part of this case is not that Jake vanished. The worst part is what happened next. What happened to the one person who knew him better than anyone else? The one person who kept saying there had to be an explanation? The one person who refused to believe Jake was just gone? His best friend, Paul 2004. And before we go any further, I need you to do something. I want you to listen closely to this story, and when we get to the end, tell me in the comments what you think really happened. Do you believe Paul went too far chasing something he did not understand? Or do you think Jake was actually trying to lead him somewhere? Because the deeper this story goes, the less it feels like a rumor, and the more it feels like a warning. After Jake 5638 disappeared, everything around him froze in time. His room stayed untouched. His backpack was still on the floor. His phone was still on the desk. His game was still open. And his family kept hoping that somehow, against all logic, he would come back through the front door and explain all of it. But he never did. Most people around Jake slowly gave up on the idea that there would ever be an answer. The police had nothing. The cameras had nothing. The neighbors had nothing. No footprints, no signs of forced entry, no message, no note, no clue that made any sense. It was as if he had simply been erased from the world in the middle of the night. But Paul 2004 did not let it go. Paul was not just Jake's best friend in real life, he was his best friend in Roblox too. They played together almost every night. Same servers, same stupid jokes, same late-night grinding sessions when they were supposed to be asleep. If anyone would know when something was wrong with Jake, it should have been Paul. And that thought destroyed him. At first, he blamed himself in the normal way. He replayed their messages over and over. He reread every weird text Jake had sent him. Every time Jake hinted that something was wrong, every time he mentioned the game feeling different, every time he described that faceless figure in the trees, Paul kept asking himself the same question again and again. Why didn't I take him seriously? That question turned into an obsession. Every night after school, Paul started logging into 99 nights in the forest alone. Not to play, not to win, just to look. He would go to the same places Jake used to mention. The darker parts of the map. The areas near the tree line where the fog got heavier and the paths made less sense the longer you followed them. He walked those woods over and over, hoping something would happen, hoping some clue would appear, hoping Jake's account would show up again. And at first, nothing did. Then, around 2 weeks after Jake disappeared, Paul noticed something strange. Jake 5638 was online. Not every night, not for long, just for a few minutes at a time. His username would appear in the player list, then vanish. No joins, no chat, no movement anyone could track. Just there 1 second, gone the next. Paul screenshotted it the first time it happened because he knew nobody would believe him. He immediately messaged the account. "Jake, is that you? Bro, answer me. Where are you? Please stop messing around." No reply. The next night, it happened again. Jake 5638 joined an empty server at 2:13 a.m. Paul joined immediately. He searched the map for almost 10 minutes before he saw him. A figure standing between the trees at the edge of a clearing, perfectly still, facing away. The username above the avatar said, Jake 5638. Paul walked toward him slowly. He later said his hands were shaking so badly he could barely control the mouse. He typed in chat, "Jake, if this is you, move. Do something. Say anything." The figure did not move. Paul took another step. The avatar turned slightly. Not enough to face him, just enough to make it feel aware. Then one line appeared in the chat. "Not here?" That was it. 2 words. And then the figure vanished. Paul sat there staring at the screen for almost a full minute. He took screenshots. He saved the chat log. He sent everything to Jake's older cousin, who thought it was just some sick prank. He sent it to another friend from school, who told him somebody probably stole the account. He even thought about sending it to Jake's parents, but he stopped himself. Because what was he supposed to say? Your missing son's Roblox account just told me, not here? So Paul kept it to himself. That was mistake number 1. Over the next few days, the messages continued. Never long, never enough, just tiny fragments, appearing only when Paul was alone in the game. Not here too late, don't bring them. Come alone. Each message made things worse because they did not feel random. They felt directed, personal. Like whoever was behind the account knew exactly what to say to keep Paul hooked, to keep him coming back. And it worked. Paul stopped sleeping normally. He stopped talking much at school. Teachers noticed he looked exhausted. His mom said he was becoming hard to reach, which was almost the exact phrase Jake's mom had used about Jake before he disappeared. Paul began staying in his room with the lights off, the game open for hours at a time, waiting for Jake 5638 to appear. Then came the message that changed everything. It happened on a Thursday night just after 1 a.m. Paul had been wandering the map for almost 40 minutes when he saw the avatar again. Same clearing, same stillness, same impossible feeling that it had been standing there waiting for him. This time, before Paul even typed anything, a message appeared in chat. You saw it too. Paul froze. He wrote back immediately. Saw what? Where are you? Jake, please tell me where you are. The reply took almost 30 seconds. Where the trees split, where the stone leans, where the path ends wrong. Then the avatar disappeared again. Paul read those words over and over. They sounded like nonsense at first, but the more he stared at them, the more he became convinced they were describing a real place. Not a place in the game, a place in real life. The next day at school, Paul barely spoke to anyone. But after classes ended, he told one friend something weird. He said he had seen that place before. Not exactly, but almost. Like a memory he could not fully grab. A forest trail outside town where kids used to ride bikes a few years earlier. An old stretch of woods behind a shut-down campground. There had been a crooked boulder near one of the trails. There had been a fork where the trees arched strangely over the path. His friend told him not to go. Paul laughed it off and said he was not actually serious. That was mistake number 2. That weekend, he went back into the game. He wanted one more sign, one more confirmation before doing anything stupid. Something undeniable. Something only Jake could know. What he got was worse. At 12:48 a.m., Jake 5638 appeared again. This time not in the clearing, but farther down a narrow trail Paul had never noticed before. The trail was half covered in fog and ended at a dark patch of woods that looked denser than the rest of the map. Paul followed. The avatar moved for the first time since Jake disappeared, walking slowly ahead of him, never too far, always just visible through the trees. Paul kept typing the whole time. Jake, stop. If this is you, just tell me. I'm coming, okay? Just don't leave. The avatar reached a small open area and stopped beside a large stone leaning sideways out of the ground. One dead tree bent over it at an angle. The entire place looked wrong in a way Paul could not explain. Too specific, too deliberate, like a recreated memory. Then a final message appeared. Tomorrow, after sunset, come alone. The avatar vanished. Paul later told nobody about that message because by then he had already decided he was going. And this is where I want to stop for 1 second and ask you something. What would you have done? Seriously? If your best friend disappeared, and then his account started messaging only you, sending details that felt impossible to fake, would you go? Or would you tell someone? Because everyone says they would do the smart thing. Everyone says they would call the police, tell a parent, show the screenshots. But when you are 13, scared, guilty, and convinced your best friend might still be out there waiting for you, smart decisions Stop feeling simple. The next evening, Paul told his mom he was going to a friend's house. He took his phone, a flashlight, and a hoodie. Nothing else. Around 7:11 p.m., his phone location showed him moving toward the old wooded area near the abandoned campground at the edge of town. It was a place people barely used anymore. Too overgrown for families, too forgotten for hikers, too quiet after dark. The kind of place that feels different the moment the sun goes down. At 7:26 p.m., he sent one text to a classmate. "I think I found where he meant." The classmate replied almost instantly. "What are you talking about?" Paul never answered. According to the phone records, he opened Roblox one last time at 7:31 p.m. That detail alone is enough to make people uncomfortable because it means he was standing somewhere in the real woods, in the dark, with the game open in his hand, using it like a map. At 7:34 p.m., he sent one final message through Roblox chat. "I'm here." Then, 3 dots appeared for a few seconds, as if someone were typing back. And then came the reply from Jake, 5638. "You shouldn't have come without light. Nobody knows what that meant." At 7:41 p.m., Paul's phone flashlight turned on. At 7:43 p.m., it turned off. At 7:47 p.m., his location pinged near the deepest part of the trail system, close to a part of the woods with no marked path and no nearby road. At 7:49 p.m., his phone sent an audio file by accident to the same classmate he had texted earlier. The file was only 7 seconds long. At first, it sounded like nothing. Heavy breathing, leaves crunching, wind. But when investigators cleaned up the audio later, they picked up something else underneath. A voice, very faint, too distorted to identify clearly. Some people think it says Paul. Some think it says don't look back. Some think it says run. Then the recording cuts off. By 9 p.m., Paul had not come home. His mother started calling. No answer. By 9:30, she called the other parents. No one had seen him. By 10:12, police were notified. Search teams went out that same night. They found the edge of the trail Paul had likely used. They found broken branches, disturbed leaves, and one footprint near a muddy dip in the ground. A few yards deeper in the woods, they found his flashlight. It was still on. The batteries were nearly dead. A little farther ahead, they found his phone lying face up in the dirt. The screen was cracked, but still active. Roblox was still open. The last thing visible in the chat was the message, "You shouldn't have come without light." Paul himself was nowhere to be found. No blood, no sign of an animal attack, no clear trail leading away, no evidence of another person. Dogs lost the scent near a cluster of leaning trees around a large stone half buried in the ground, a stone matching the one from the game. When police searched the area the next morning, they documented something people still argue about to this day. Scratched into the dirt near the base of the stone were 2 sets of letters. One looked like a J, the other may have been a P, but the ground had been disturbed too much to tell for sure. Investigators dismissed it as random markings made by roots, boots, or search equipment. The families were never convinced. And after that, the story should have ended. 2 missing boys, 1 game, 1 patch of woods. No answers. But that is not where it ends. Because less than a week after Paul disappeared, players started reporting something new in 99 Nights in the Forest. Not 1 figure in the distance, 2. One standing deeper between the trees, another closer to the path. Both motionless, both silent. And if players approached, the farther one would disappear first, then the closer one, as if one had led them there, as if the other had followed. Soon screenshots spread through private Discord servers and TikTok edits. Most were fake, obviously. Reposts, mock-ups, creepy little hoaxes built on top of the original story. But a few images unsettled even the people who wanted to debunk everything. In one screenshot, 2 usernames are visible in the fog for less than a second in the player list. Jake5638, Paul2004, then both disappear. And then there was the message, the one multiple players claimed to receive late at night in empty lobbies after standing too long near the stone area of the map. First one watched, second one followed, don't be third. That message was never verified officially, but enough people repeated it that it became part of the legend almost immediately. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like an obvious chain reaction of grief, guilt, and internet rumors. A missing kid vanishes. His friend becomes obsessed. He reads meaning into random game events, sneaks out to the woods, gets lost, maybe injured, maybe worse, and the internet builds a supernatural myth around it because that is what the internet does. And honestly, that is the most rational explanation. But there are still details nobody likes talking about, like how Paul's phone battery had enough charge to last hours longer, but all activity stopped at exactly 7:49 p.m. Like how the trail where they found his flashlight did not match the normal path into that section of woods, almost as if he had been walking towards something instead of through the area. Like how Jake's parents said Paul looked terrified the last time they saw him, but not confused. Terrified in a specific way, like someone who believes a terrible thing is real. And the part that gets me most is this. According to one of Paul's deleted draft messages recovered from his account, there was something he had not told anyone, something he typed but never sent. It read, "I don't think he wants me to find him. I think he wants me to see what found him." That line has never left me. Because if this was all a prank, then whoever did it understood exactly how grief works, exactly how guilt works, exactly how to take a 13-year-old boy who missed the signs with his best friend and turn that pain into bait. But if it was not a prank, then Paul may have realized too late that he was never being led to Jake. He was being led to the same place that took him. And now, I want your honest opinion. Was Paul 2004 trying to save his best friend? Was he manipulated by someone behind the screen? Or did he walk straight into something that had already been waiting in those woods long before either of them ever opened that game? Tell me in the comments, because this is one of those stories where every explanation sounds wrong. And one more thing. If you ever see a message in a game from someone who is not supposed to be there, do not follow it into the dark just because part of you wants answers. Sometimes the need to know is exactly what pulls people deeper. Sometimes the thing calling you is counting on the fact that you care enough to come looking. Jake 5638 disappeared first. Paul 2004 went looking second. And if the stories from that server are true, whatever lives between those trees is still waiting for someone to be third.